Zohran Mamdani, I think in many ways is going to be the canary in the coal mine in terms of what the capacity will be for this country's
Yep.
ability to elect somebody in the largest city in this country, the most diverse city in this country,
Hmm.
who is not central casting, is
Yep.
not Gavin Newsom
Yep.
or degenerate like Eric Adams, who a lot of people voted for because he was black. I'm just gonna say it.
Yep.
What do you think? Is he an Obama like? Because you mentioned Obama, and
Hmm.
because he is very charismatic. He's got a way about him. Do you think
Yep.
he's that, or is he a change candidate? Is he going to be the signal that perhaps people are going to be willing to listen to policies?
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.
I think he's absolutely a canary in the coal mine, right? Because I don't like him, right? In terms of like just in general, I don't like him, but he would get my vote if I was a New Yorker right now. And I think that I feel
Okay.
like I am very much indicative of what I would say is traditional old school values Democrat straight down the ticket voter, right? Like that is who I am. That is who I am, right? And I don't particularly care for him, but I like his process. I like the way he understands his audience. I like the fact that he is clear. I actually like the fact that he's pretty forthcoming. And I know that he has an appeal to a younger demographic and a younger subset of voters who are actively listening to him. They don't drown him out. He knows how to reach those people. And I think that is what people who give a shit about democracy need to pay attention to. I'm not just talking about Democrats, right? Because I do think the DNC has a lot to learn from him. They have a lot to learn from him. I say this all the time that and my friends who are staunch Democrats look at me crazy when I say that, I feel like, Jeffries and Schumer are have lost the narrative, right? And I think that Jeffries is too young to not have any balls and Schumer is too old not to have any. And it goes back to you're going to have to be a fighter. Democrats need to understand that we are at the nuclear option. And I think that Maldani, he gets that we're at the nuclear option.
Yeah.
And
Why
he
don't you like him?
understands. I don't like him because I think that he needs to spend more time going into black spaces and talking to black people about things that are very specific. I think that he needs to spend more time with black media specifically. I think that
I
he
agree
needs
with that.
to have a conversation with the black community and talk to them by name and have a bit more specificity to that.
So,
I
but
also
let
feel
me say this though.
yeah,
I 100% agree. It's the same malady that I think harmed Kamala Harris, the people around her,
absolutely.
because what they've been told, and this is again why who controls the narratives is important, is that as long as you go to Al Sharpton, it's all good.
And that ain't it.
That
That ain't it for my
and he's on
generation.
this
That ain't it
channel,
for the younger
but
people.
I'm gonna say this with my full chest. It has never been it, but this is again, and I'm y'all at me if you want to like him, not whatever. It doesn't matter. This is not. I'm not casting aspersions on the man. I'm saying that the media has decided that that's who you go to. Before him, it was Jesse Jackson. That's who you go to get the blessing. When Comcast is making their deals, they're going to bring in Mark Morial. They're going to bring in Al Sharpton. They're going to bring in, the NAACP. But that's, to your point, there's a large swath of us that are never being heard, which is why I'm incredibly proud of Urban View, because we have a little bit of everybody here. You're going to get some Al Sharpton. You're going to get some Leon. You're going to get a little everybody in this space. And we all have a voice and we all have a way of how we move. But the masses have never been talked to. We've never had that, and so in many ways, that's been the failure too in politics, because even the DNC, they're following a playbook. Well, if we just go to National Action Network, we're good. And he's done that several times.
Yep.
And so in his,
that ain't
whoever, I know, but I'm saying that it's hard to have a conversation when for the last 40 years, 30 years, that's been the playbook. And, this is what people have said is so I did what you told me to do. Kamala, I did what you told me to do. I sat with the Breakfast Club, and right. But you and I know, and everyone listening, we all know. And so it becomes almost a little self-serving too, because it's saying, oh, you're saying that because they're not coming to your show. I was voting for her and doing whatever because I understood what was at stake. Didn't matter whether she came here or not. It would have helped her to come here, to be asked questions that nobody else is going to ask her, and to be challenged. If you're really ready for this seat, either you're really ready for this seat, then come to Real Journalists. Come to where you're going to be asked some questions and show the people that you're ready. This helps you.
It helps immensely. And even then, you also are coming to an audience who is rooting for you to win. So you can actually hone your ability to answer these hard questions in a place where you're gonna get a modicum of respect that you weren't gonna get in those other spaces. You could have come here, had a conversation, and then had a conversation so your talking points are better. When you're with the other people out there.
Because they're not gonna help you get your talking points. They're gonna ask you about some bull crap, hot sauce and some other.
You got some hot sauce in your purse, like all this other kind of foolishness.
What you smoke when you listening to music? What you listen to when you smoking weed? Like, come on, y'all. There's too much riding on where we are right now. So I agree with you. Whoever's listening right now, if you got this young man's ear, tell him to bring himself over here. There's a lot of New Yorkers listening. You want to galvanize or at least be asked questions, because it's not enough for you to have a platform for us. We need to also have demands for you and hold you accountable. But, you can either come in or be held accountable from the outside. It's a lot easier to come on in. But
and here's the thing, Karen, that I don't want to miss this last point, and I know we're moving on, but I feel like that it's one thing. What Harris proved is that you can have a platform and lose. You need to have a conversation. A platform is not enough. You're going to have a platform and have some conversations. The other thing about the Mamdani thing is that you can't tell me that you believe that we got to throw all of the other playbooks out except for the Black playbook. He's throwing all of the other playbooks out. Throw out the old I'm going to go to National Action Network playbook out too, and come in like experience this, right? But what I will say on that is I think that he's got the right team mentality about this what used to work is not going to work anymore. It's not going to work anymore. Is that we're going to have to fight, and we're going to have to fight differently, and we're going to have to fight in spaces that are very different spaces than what the old playbook says. Because one of the things that I feel like people lose on the narrative about Kirk too is that there are all of these other emissaries out there who are essentially the campaign never ends. He was doing a multi-city college tour to go out and handing out 47 hats. So about a third party, about Trump for a third party. And
third term. Yeah.
Who's on the campaign trail for whoever's going to be the Democratic candidate right now? Who's going to those college campuses? Who's handing out the hats?
You're absolutely right.
Who's doing all of that?
You're right.
That's the thing, is that for me, while I don't like him, I would vote for him because they have cracked the code on the fact that politics as usual does not win.
Correct. You're right. Man, I didn't even consider that Charlie Kirk was out there. I talked about him handing out the MAGA hats yesterday, and yeah, you're right. Their campaign never ends.
It's listed on there. So to start normalizing a third term. That's why they got the number on the hats. That's why they're throwing them out there. That's why he's on a multi-city college tour with the people who are most likely not to vote is younger people. All folks gonna vote. Correct. He is out right now, starting 4 years early.
Radicalizing and indoctrinating. You are so right.
Or mobilizing, however you want to think about it. Okay. He's on the campaign trail right now, engaging the people who are least likely to vote. And so then when we get to the next election cycle and they're like, oh, well, these younger people don't typically vote. And then you have a massive wave of young voters that are voting Republican. And you're like, wait, These people never vote. Yeah, because you never went and talked to them, right?
Correct.
You didn't have a steady drumbeat of work of talking to them through every cycle between now that they're living between now and the next 4 years. And see, we cannot fight this thing the same way. I will say this. You can talk about, there's a lot that you can learn from evil, from the evildoers. You don't have to have their same mentality, but if you don't learn from that, then you miss the opportunity to actually learn how to fight against it. You have to learn from the enemy. And one of the things that they did incredibly well is they said, we're not in office, but we're going to put together all the policies so that we have a playbook on day one. And so in the first 6 months of that presidency, they already had a playbook. They said, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to be doing so much that people don't know which thing to fight first, which fire to put out first. And so then we're just going to let all of the shit burn. I've had people say, policy people say to me in the war room for how tech is going to how tech should be dealing with this administration. I've had policy people say that there are things that happened in the first 6 months of this administration that it will take 20 years to undo.
We do that though. They were ready. They
were ready.
They never stopped being ready, even when they were out.
Where's the Democratic Project 2028? Right.
And I don't even want to follow that model because they've been doing this project and just add a new number to it since Reconstruction. So this is a 100-year plan. Do we have one? Okay. Shit. The 866-801.
You've been talking about the 100-year plan for as long as I've known you.
Not for no reason. Because if you can't see yourself when you're not here, then you won't be here.
Yeah.
And I mean your progeny and your ideals and all that. If you can't see it, it won't manifest. So we all have to do that work individually and then collectively. What will the world look like in 100 years? How do you want it to look? Do you want to participate? Do you want to be a part of it? Do you want your people to be a part? What does that look? Well, they have a 100-year plan, and it doesn't include me and you. I promise you. Or if it does, we're in a we're in a very subservient role. Yes, okay. You already know. All right, so Zohran Mamdani was on with Jennifer Welsh and Angie Sullivan, and here's what he said to the ladies.
Eric Adams, I'm sure a scavenger hunt was fun for the people with nothing better to do. Mamdani is trying to turn our city into the Squid Games.
I think that's real.
It's real.
Yeah. This is a guy whose administration has had fun doing illegal things.
Right.
And now thinks it's illegal to have fun. There is room for joy in our politics.
Yes.
As corny as it may sound, if all we ever do is struggle and fight, we will exhaust ourselves. We have to also have a vision of what life could be like, what we're fighting for.
Yeah.
And I think part of the inability of Cuomo and Adams to understand the scavenger hunt is that they don't understand the room in a working person's life for rest, for relaxation.
Joy.
Joy. Listen, I think that what I feel like that he's tapped into, Karen, is the places where people are tired and they turn off. When people are ready to change the channel when it comes to politics or just abdicate or just need a break, what he has tapped into is very similar to what Obama tapped into, which is one of the reasons why I would support him, even though I don't particularly care for some of the things. Like I hated his POV on Vice President Harris and when he was talking or did not talk about, right? But one of the ways that Obama was able to engage young people who did not look like him was the fact that he brought a vision of America and that included hope, change. This Mamdani is talking about rest. He's talking about joy. He's talking about fun. He's talking about community, right? And younger people want to believe that is still possible because that is not what their life looks like today.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I know what a young New Yorker is facing right now. I lived in New York and made a lot of money, and New York was hard on my black ass, right?
Listen.
So I can only imagine what it's like now as the city has changed and shifted post-COVID and gotten even more expensive.
Shout out to New Yorkers. I could never imagine living in New York. Rent $3,000 for a 1-bedroom in a dicey neighborhood. Y'all must be out your damn mind.
We're ready. We're prepared. Do not give in to fear. We are fearless. This is not the time to be afraid. This is a time to stand up and fight back and to resist any temptation for them to divide us. We're in this together. The rule of law is on our side. We will not give in, not give up. We will not capitulate. We will not bow. We will not bend. We will survive.